Good morning. First frost of the season, temperatures are starting to drop across the state of Indiana. What that means for weather the rest of the year and how long you can expect the frost to stick around.
Vaccine eligibility grows when more kids will be able to roll up their sleeves for the COVID-19 vaccine. Plus, what needs to happen before approval.
Spooky Chills, our weather team times out your weekend forecast and tells you how the temperatures will impact your Halloween weekend plans. Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather. I'm Maddie Johnson.
And I'm Natalie Fitzpatrick.
Now, Natalie, I don't know about you, it was pretty chilly this week.
Yeah, I had to break out the sweater and sweatshirt this week.
Definitely enjoyed breaking out those jackets. And speaking of the cold, Delaware County saw the first frost of the season this week. Check out these photos taken by the NewsLink Indiana weather team. You can see frost on the buildings, on the ground, and even some sundogs in the sky. Before Wednesday, it had been 168 days since temperatures had dropped below 40 degrees. The cool temperatures and the frost will also help bring more fall colors to the area.
This is the last week to visit Landis Farmed Corn Maze. The corn maze will be open tonight and on Halloween from noon to 6 o'clock. The Landis farm has been run by the Landis family for 4 generations. They've been operating since 1931. The corn maze is an annual fall tradition. This year's maze features history of agricultural technology. They offer other activities too. After going through the corn maze, you can take a ride on a hay wagon and visit the pumpkin patch. Tickets cost $8 per person. You can buy tickets at the farm or purchase them online at landisfarm.com.
And of course, the big event happening this weekend is Halloween. Now, I don't know about you, I don't have a whole lot of Halloween plans yet, but maybe I'll have to hit up that corn maze.
Yeah, I'm not planning to go out because it has been really cold, but well, if you have plans for the spooky weekend, it's important to stay safe. NewsLink Indiana's Emily Harless spoke with the police department about what you should watch out for.
As kids prepare for a new year of trick-or-treating after COVID, Delaware County Sheriff Tony Skinner wants to send them and their parents a message. Stay safe.
You know, we would always encourage somebody, if they need help, call us, we'll help you.
Skinner sending out tips to Delaware County residents on what to watch out for this spooky season.
Obviously, stay in well-lighted areas. Don't go to houses that are sketchy. Check your candy when you get home. Don't eat anything that's unwrapped. A lot of common sense stuff.
And while festivities for children may not be starting until the weekend, festivities for Ball State students are beginning Thursday night with parties and trips to local bars. The chief of police at the University Police Department, Jim Duckham, sending out tips of his own for those older kids.
If you're hosting parties, we'd ask that you provide things besides alcohol. Clearly, if you're underage, you shouldn't be drinking, but like have soft drinks, water, food for your guests. We'd also offer up that, don't post on social media to have an open house.
And his biggest tip of all, use the Lifeline law.
If one of your friends needs medical attention because they've been drinking and everybody's underage, we want you to call. We want to be able to bring EMS. We want to be able to help people that would need our help.
But even though safety is the #1 priority for the police, there is one final thing Chief Duckham wants you to remember.
Be safe, with the stuff that you wear and hang out with your friends and have a great time. It's a fun night.
These are the hours set for trick-or-treating this weekend. Albany will have trick-or-treating tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. Daleville and Gaston will both have their trick-or-treating hours on Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m.
And on the day of Halloween, Muncie, Yorktown, Selma, and Eaton will hold their trick-or-treating operating hours. Muncie will be open 5 to 8, as well as Eaton. Yorktown and Selma's hours are 6 to 8.
Now, Natalie, I know we keep talking about this cold, but I'm hoping it's not going to get any colder anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping this won't impact people's Halloween plans. Vanessa, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we are going to be seeing some cooler temperatures, but as of Halloween, it's going to stay pretty nice. For as of right now, we're seeing current temperatures sitting around in the mid to upper 50s, Muncie with 56 degrees, with Terre Haute being a little cooler with 51 degrees. We're seeing that on the next 12 hours, these temperatures are going to stay pretty consistent. We're seeing that in the morning, it's going to be around 57, 11 a.m. we're going to hit 58, but 59 all throughout the evening and afternoon. and by 7 p.m. those temperatures are going to start to cool down, but pretty consistent temperatures in the upper 50s for today. We're seeing on a radar that there is a storm system moving across the state of Indiana, and if we take a look further out, we're seeing a storm system moving across the Midwest and the Great Plains surrounding this low pressure system, and it is going to affect Indiana, but I will get to that later on in my show. We're going to talk about some cool temperatures for this next week. We're going to hit into the mid to upper 40s, and I'll show you that later. Some partly sunny skies for you next week. So although it's cold, it is going to be partly sunny, so not a whole lot of rain, except for tonight. We are going to see that storm system affect us for this evening and a little bit into tomorrow, but I'll talk about that in my full weather forecast. Back to you, Maddie and Natalie.
Oil company executives testified in front of a congressional oversight committee Thursday. The head of ExxonMobil, BP America, Chevron, and Shell Oil spoke with lawmakers. Members of the House committee questioned them about how fossil fuels have impacted the climate crisis. The hearing came after allegations of the oil industry concealing evidence about the dangers of global warming. Yesterday, the CEO of ExxonMobil said the company has not spread disinformation about climate change.
Our views on policies and its implications have been guided by our understanding of the science. We've been vocal and transparent in our support for governments to implement policies that are cost effective and achieve the greatest emission reductions at the lowest overall cost to society.
Lawmakers are expected to examine past research. The research is said to show that big oil companies were aware of connection between fossil fuels and climate change decades ago.
The UN's Climate Change Conference begins next week. Delegates from 196 countries will discuss the issue of climate change, and a popular magazine is following suit. The latest issue of Time magazine is all about climate change. The cover will showcase a climate diplomat, activist, innovator, and an illustration. Inside the magazine, it will feature America's return to the climate fight, covering content like the Green Deal legislation and Ford's release of an electric truck. The magazine goes on sale today.
In New England, thousands of people are still in the dark after a nor'easter strengthened into a bomb cyclone this week.
The storm tore through the region, leaving large amounts of damage behind. John Lornick looks at recovery efforts in the area.
Under debris and in the dark, New Englanders are dealing with the aftermath of a huge storm.
We came outside with a flashlight and saw that this tree had fallen on our roof.
Throughout, you can see homes damaged, trees uprooted, and boats blown aground. The storm drenching some areas in 2 to 8 inches of rain, with wind gusts reaching 74 miles per hour in parts of Massachusetts and Rhode Island, prompting warnings from the National Weather Service to stay off roadways and away from windows.
Yeah, not much sleep. It was so loud and windy. Hear a crash and a boom and hope it wasn't getting near us.
In Brockton, Massachusetts, firefighters braved the extreme conditions while battling a large blaze at this building and a transformer fire at a home nearby.
As I'm about to lock the door, I saw the first transformer go off, and after that, basically, that one blew up down there, and then the last one blew up right here in the house, and then the house caught on fire.
As the storm moves out to sea, the governor of Massachusetts says utility workers are doing their best to restore power.
In some cases, they do need to wait until the winds come down before it's really going to be safe to get up into a bucket truck.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Rain in California helped to increase the amount of water stored in reservoirs, but experts say it's not enough. The storm caused flooding and damage on roadways across the Bay Area, but it didn't lead to a drastic increase in reservoir water. In Santa Clara Valley, the storm increased water supplies by 0.5%. In San Francisco, it was a bit more, with an increase of nearly 3%. Experts say long periods of drought mean it difficult for the water to penetrate the soil. They say it will be critical for the state to capture more water in the future. California officials are also focusing on improving conservation and recycling efforts. Just ahead, a new way you can share your vaccine status.
That's after your weather now. Welcome back. The current time is 8:11 and you're taking a live look outside at the Foundational Sciences building. The Biden administration is continuing to encourage more Americans to roll up their sleeves, and now the country is getting close to another milestone in increasing eligibility for COVID-19 vaccinations.
Health officials are closing in on a decision about Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. Britt Conway has the latest on the process.
We are getting closer and closer to that really important milestone.
Closer to a COVID-19 vaccine for kids 5 to 11. Pfizer's vaccine just got the thumbs up on emergency use authorization from the FDA's vaccine advisors,
recommending approval of this vaccine.
So what happens next?
The FDA now needs to do its deliberation, taking into account the advisory committee's input. And then after that, the CDC's advisory committee will meet.
That's on the books for November 2nd. If they give it the go-ahead, the CDC is expected to make its official recommendation, possibly with modifications. That means the nation's 28 million kids 5 to 11 could be eligible for their first shot by next week. But some parents are still hesitant. A recent survey shows only about a third of parents of kids in that age group plan to get them vaccinated right away. There are some common questions doctors say they're getting right now, like what about the potential risks of the vaccine?
The cumulative benefits outweigh any potential risk.
My child already had COVID. Would a vaccine still help?
The level of your immunity against reinfection is really profound. It goes way, way up.
What about safety moving forward?
The safety monitoring of this vaccine will continue. It has actually been quite intense.
And health officials say they're ready to roll. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Indiana officials say if vaccines are approved for kids ages 5 to 11, the state should be able to immediately give a shot to a third of all kids in that age group. Indiana's chief medical officer, Dr. Lindsay Weaver, says the state expects to receive 200,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses for children in that age group. Smaller shipments of the vaccine are expected in the following weeks.
And Apple has a new way for its users to show their vaccine status. Now, iPhone users can keep vaccine or COVID-19 test information on their device. Providers digitally sign the documents and then they're stored in the Health app. You can also transfer your vaccine card to your Apple Wallet to display it. The features are available for iPhone and iPod Touch devices running iOS 15.
A new survey found that many Americans would quit their jobs if they were required to be vaccinated. The Kaiser Family Foundation surveyed more than 1,500 Americans this month. 37% of unvaccinated people said they would quit if they were required to be vaccinated or take weekly COVID tests if there was no testing option available. 72% of unvaccinated people said they would quit. Several businesses have already imposed vaccine mandates. They have reported nearly all of their workers ended up complying with the rules instead of quitting.
And now for a turn to weather, we have weather forecaster Ryan Crump here. It's been pretty chilly outside. Good morning to you, Ryan.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interesting weather around the nation. What can you tell us about what's happening right now?
Well, we do have some interesting weather coming up here right now. We got some cooler temperatures, we got some rain, we got some pretty much everything right here. You're gonna see that right here. If you look at the temperatures right now, we are at 45 degrees right now in Denver, 46 degrees here in Minneapolis, and Kansas City sitting at 48 degrees. And Seattle up here is at 47 degrees at this hour. Now look at this radar. Right now, we are going to be taking a close attention to this area of low pressure right here. As we see, we got rain that's pretty much surrounding this whole area. We're speaking of the rain. I'm going to want to show you a little bit about the flood watches and stuff that's going on around the Illinois, Indiana area. We got some rivers that's overflowing in the banks here in Indiana and parts of Illinois as well. Chicago is even seeing a flood watch at this time. Parts of Lake Michigan has got a wind advisory, a gale wind advisory. We also will take you here to some areas that are a little bit colder as well. As you see, there are some freeze warnings and frost advisories in parts of Kansas City and parts of Wichita as well. So we're getting on some colder weather as well over here, and some areas off the coast and the Gulf is seeing some wind advisories and gale storm warnings in parts of Dallas, not Dallas, but parts of Texas, eastern Texas, and parts of eastern Texas. They also seeing some wind advisories as well. And we also could see here parts of Seattle. They also take a look at some flood watches as well, and parts of the Pacific Northwest is also seeing some wind advisories off the coast as well. Now the highs for today, you're gonna see that Kansas City only gonna make up to 51 degrees, 55 degrees in Minneapolis. Billings is at 70 degrees, so they're above average. And you see Seattle is only at 50 degrees for a high today. Now for tomorrow, Billings, you're not gonna be seeing 70 degrees. You're gonna see much cooler temperatures, as you're gonna see only 41 degrees in Billings and 57 degrees in Minneapolis and 60 degrees in Kansas City, 74 degrees there in Dallas. So we are going to see those temperature fluctuations here as you go through the week. You also see, as you see earlier, you're seeing a whole bunch of flooding rains as well in parts of Illinois and parts of Indiana. Chicago, you're seeing some flood watches as well. Seattle, seeing some flood watches, and then all those wind watches as well down in the southeast and the Gulf Coast.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan. Definitely big fluctuations in temperatures coming this week. In just a moment, our weather team will time out your Halloween weekend forecast.
That's after a message from Mitz.
Riding the bus is an easy thing to do. Last year, we carried 60,000 riders from the Ball State area. 50,000 of those were students. Anywhere you want to go, Mitz will take you there.
Welcome back. The current time is 8:18 and you're taking a look outside at the Foundational Science Building. Heavy drinking during the pandemic has caused the need for liver transplants to soar. That's according to a new study published in JAMA Network. Researchers evaluated the number of people with alcoholic hepatitis that received a liver transplant or were on a waiting list. Alcoholic hepatitis causes the liver to stop processing alcohol. They found the number of people was 50% higher than the forecasted number. That forecast was based on pre-pandemic trends.
COVID cases are popping up in a new group, lions. Dozens of lions at the Denver Zoo have contracted COVID-19. Zoo officials say the lions began experiencing symptoms 2 weeks ago. 2 tigers at the zoo tested positive on October 14th. They were the first official cases. Zookeepers say they don't know how the virus spread to the lions since the animals are kept in different places and work with different teams. The zoo said they plan to vaccinate the animals in the next few months as more supply of animal vaccinations are produced.
Lions. I hope that this cold weather and windy conditions isn't affecting them too much.
Yeah, this morning we've got weather forecaster Vanessa Hintz here with us. Good morning to you, Vanessa. It definitely was chilly on my walk-in this morning. Definitely had to have that jacket and the umbrella with me.
Yeah, you might want to whip out your winter coats pretty soon because the temperatures are going to get a bit cooler next week, and I will talk more about that here in my full weather forecast. We're going to see some temperatures that are going to be in the 40s. Right now they are in the 50s, maybe the upper 50 area, and it's going to go down a bit for next week, but as of right now, it's pretty chilly. We're also going to see some rain come in. See that we want some umbrellas, a raincoat, because throughout the day it is going to be pretty scarce. As of tonight, we're seeing these storms mostly affect our Muncie and surrounding counties, and this is going to keep up throughout the evening, but move throughout the evening. That's going to give us a good amount of rain, and there is going to be some clouds that are going to leave after that, so it is going to be a bit of an overcast, and as of tonight, those precipitation chances are going to be around 90%, so just close your windows, make sure they aren't open so no rain gets in. The low is 52 degrees, north winds from 5 to 10 miles an hour. For tomorrow, we're going to see that it is going to be in the lower 50s, 9 a.m. 52 degrees, and it is going to heat up to 54 degrees by the end of the day with some scattered showers throughout. For our next 5 days, chances of rain are going to be pretty low. As of today, like I said, 90% chance of rain throughout the day, so just bring an umbrella, a raincoat, and throughout the next few days, those chances aren't going to be as high. What we are going to see is this weekend, our Saturday is going to be a little bit of a washout, but as of Sunday, it's going to be a gorgeous Halloween day, mostly sunny skies, upper 50s, 58 degrees, and looking more into our trick-or-treating hours, are going to be gorgeous temperatures, mid-50s with partly cloudy skies, but it's not going to be too chilly like we've experienced in past Halloweens, so just bring around a light jacket just in case, because it is going to feel a bit cooler as we get into the evening. For your mid 7-day forecast, it's going to be pretty chilly going into next week. We're going to see the mid to upper 40s, but as of this weekend, gorgeous skies, just some chances of rain on Saturday. And back to you at the desk.
Now, it sounds like it's going to be pretty cool for Halloween. I think I'd wear a warmer jacket in the mid-50s. I'd start feeling pretty chilly.
Yeah, and those 40s next week, definitely going to have to maybe even break out my winter coat.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see that more in the beginning of the week and continue in throughout. We're going to just stick in those 40-degree weather. So, going into class and stuff, you might want to bring your winter coat because it's going to be quite chilly, especially without the sun.
Well, those cooler temperatures are definitely signaling maybe winter is coming, maybe some snow on the horizon soon. Crossing my fingers for that.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. And in just a moment, what change in the weather will help bring more fall colors?
That's after your weather now.
From the heart of Ball State to the heart of your community, NewsLink Indiana brings you local and state news you care about. We pride ourselves with giving you the most reliable news coverage, stories that affect you, linking you to the community each night on air and online. NewsLink Indiana, bringing news to the heart of your community.
Welcome back. The current time is 8:24. This week, Facebook making changes, families speaking out, and the Biden administration making changes to legislation.
Let's take a look at this week's News Minute. Facebook is changing its name. The company announced yesterday that the platform will now be known as Meta. In a statement, CEO Mark Zuckerberg says the new name encompasses the brand of the company. Meta is a reference to metaverse, an idea that is often referenced in dystopian science fiction novels.
Doing everything we can to make sure that my father's legacy doesn't go away.
Families of the victims in a church shooting in South Carolina spoke out this week. They settled a civil suit against the federal government. Families accused the FBI of negligence when it allowed a licensed firearm dealer to sell a gun to Dylan Roof. Roof is an admitted white nationalist who killed 9 people when he opened fire at a historically black church in 2015. Families received settlements ranging from $5 million to $7.5 million.
Framework that will create millions of jobs, grow the economy, invest in our nation and our people.
House Democrats delayed a vote on Biden's revised infrastructure bill last night. The bill is a scaled-back version of Biden's Build Back Better plan. It would still include things like child care, climate change, health care, and more. Paid medical leave and free community college were both dropped from the bill. The president hopes this version will receive support from all members of his party. Now, we did see the first frost of the season this week, and cool fall temperatures are expected to continue.
But why does frost form, and what effect does it have? Ryan Hill is here this morning breaking down the science of frost.
Well, a ghoulish Friday morning, almost Halloween. It's great to grab the coffee and open up those eyes with you. I'm weather forecaster Ryan Hill, and today we figured it's a good time as any with that frost recently on our minds to talk about breaking down the science of cold and frost, the icy fingers of winter wending their way into our weather picture. So how does that all work? Well, it begins with the sky conditions. Let's come on over here and show a little bit about what we're talking about when it comes to that. Clouds, they have a special process, a special kind of property to them that allows reflection of incoming radiation from the sun as well as outgoing radiation. This is like the infrared radiation that the sun gives the earth. Sun heats the earth. That heat tries to escape to space, but it can't quite do it with these clouds. Nuh-uh, blocking the way. Wind, on the other hand, is also, although the skies might be somewhat clear or whatever, that wind helps mix that heat and keep it close to the ground. Not so much with clear skies, though. When you shut off that wind and then you add that clear sky, cooler, drier nights, that air tends to sink real fast and allow for that outgoing long-wave radiation to go into space, the final frontier. I'm a big Star Trek fan, by the way. But here's the kicker. When you add snow to the ground, that picture gets even colder. I mean, it's ice. What are you talking about? I mean, when you add to the picture, you already have a much colder ground, but it tends to lose heat much faster. Same with grass. We experienced this just a couple mornings ago. Frost, how does that work? First, we hit the weather term of the week. That would be dew point. That is actually the temperature where once we hit that, air condenses on a surface. So that's why you see those dew droplets on the grass. But when it hits a certain temperature, this grass here, this poor grass, has the property where it can cool off a lot faster. Think of the cool, dense air sinking to the ground, and that moisture freezing on contact. Yikes. Cool night, clear night, no wind. That coolness can just kind of settle and that moisture along with it. And that's how you get frost. So what does that mean for all of us? Well, we just had a frosty night a couple nights ago. And as Vanessa hinted to, we could probably be looking at conditions just like that again at the end of next week. So what are things looking at with all of those conditions ahead? Our 7-day forecast is at the end of this newscast. Meanwhile, Maddie, Natalie, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Vanessa, let's take a final look at weather.
Yeah, like I said, we're seeing those cooler temperatures next week, 40s, so start bringing out your winter coats. But we are also going to see partly sunny skies, so not a whole lot of rain for next week. We're going to get through that in Friday and Saturday with those showers, especially all day today, and then some showers tonight.
Thank you, Vanessa. That's all for Cardinal weather for this Friday morning. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you again next Friday. Have a great rest of your day and a fantastic Halloween weekend.